record, recording on the 10th of May, Sacred Segments, 2013. Good to be here with you all. Can you all hear me okay?
2013, huh?
2013. We trying to
2013, I'm so in another dimension. Wow. 23, 20, I don't know who I am. Who are you people? So I'm going to start with a question. Okay. Before I do, I want to check in with everyone and see how you're all doing. Let's start with Anna Bavlagis. How are you?
Well, today I'm great. Yesterday I was laid out with some kind of weird spiritual illness that just knocked me out for a day with like fever and like weird dreams and no energy, and it was very strange. And then today I woke up fine, and then I got a phone call that asked me to come to this meeting and do a bunch of readings, and I got paid 50 euros for it. So I'm doing great.
Nice. Nice.
Good.
Bonnie, how are you?
I am weird. I can't even express what I've experienced lately. I can't even tell you because you wouldn't believe me, and I don't believe myself. But
Try us.
oh,
Yeah, we
good.
don't believe anything weird. You know.
Yeah,
No,
we're not
I
of
don't know.
that mind.
Do I? Okay, because we're together and we know each other, and I would be hesitant to say to a lot of people. But so I've been, I have been pondering the Star Child thing, and you know about my NDE, and you know that I saw the Irma. I honestly saw the Irma, which I didn't know was the Lyra starseed.
What is
Okay?
the Irma? I don't know what that is.
The Lyra, Lyra. Some people call it Lyra. Some people call it Lyra. I'm going with Lyra.
No, the Irma. The Irma. What's the Irma? Because before you said Lyra, you said the Irma.
I don't know. I don't.
Okay, carry on.
Okay. Don't try to trip me up.
Oh.
So anyway, in 2009, before my NDE, I was outside and I looked up in the stars in the sunshine, and suddenly appeared to me these cat-like beings. And I worked in a psych hospital for many years. And so I had been around people who were delusional and saw things. So I'm like, get that out of my mind. I'm like, I don't need to see that. So I closed it down. So it tried to come back, but I'd say, no, that's delusional. I don't want to get into that. So after my NDE, I actually took a picture of a cat being over my tree. I have the picture. I will post it. I think I already have. But this cat being was in my tree. This is right after my NDE. So anyway, I'm like, okay, my brain is all scrambled and messed up, and I don't know what I'm seeing. So this past summer, when I started getting back into meditation, or doing my qigong exercises, more in my qigong, where you're moving energy. Okay, so as I'm moving energy, last summer I'm outside again, and these beings started coming to me, and this time I don't run. This time I don't say stop it. No, I just watch. And so all the time, I could only do it like for 5 minutes because it was so overwhelming. And so as time went by, I could endure a little bit more and more and more. And so they never really spoke until I spoke to them, and any kind of communication was through telepathy. And so recently I said to them, may I teach others how to reach you? And they said, you can teach all you want to, but that doesn't mean they'll be able to get here. And I said, okay. Well, what I'm getting to is on Gaia and all these programs that get into consciousness. I've been listening. The Irma has suddenly come up on these programs. And I don't know if they've been reading some of the things that I've been writing about them, but suddenly Gaia is paying attention and they are saying nobody has been in touch with these dudes. Oh, yeah? I have. And so it's like, whoa, it's over the top for me. And so it's like, okay, what do I do with this? What do I do with this information? And I know it sounds probably crazy to you, because it sounds crazy to me, because I worked at a psych hospital for 25 years.
It doesn't sound crazy.
No,
It doesn't.
sound crazy to me. Not at all.
Thank you. Thank
We
you.
all speak to different spirits and different beings. I mean, like, for me, that's what you're describing is just another day in my life. So you're not crazy. And I get it because I come from a social care and mental health background. And I too have had to ask myself that question. Yo, Paul, are you going crazy? If you smoke too much weed, done too many magic mushrooms, and now you're having your own little thing. But the thing is, the difference between a mental health experience and what we're experiencing is that those delusional states come with lots of very challenging emotions, distraught emotions. You know, they're not enjoying the sort of hallucinatory experience they're having. They're usually, they're very distressed. Whereas we're always left with an experience of calm or euphoria or some other kind of blissful I mean, obviously there are some spirits that can be a little bit freaky, obviously, but we're not distressed, we're not distraught, and you're certainly not ungrounded. So I get the sort of challenging and questioning yourself, because we're it's part of our training to do so. But if you know, you're not having that, you're having a euphoric spiritual experience. That's the difference between that and, you know, a challenging mental health sort of episode.
There's a couple of things that I just want to quickly tell you. There's a book called The Pat Cats and the Crystal.
I saw that yesterday.
Right.
Paschats.
That's correct.
Yeah. Okay.
It's by Murray Ho. And
right.
It talks about these beings that you are seeing. I haven't read the book, but I want to. I want to read it. Also,
But how can I reach these people? I've been trying to say, you know, I have communicated with them, and I haven't summoned them. They
intention. You know, let's simplify it. Why does it have to be complicated?
I don't know, but they're telling people nobody's contacted them, and that's not true.
The other thing that I wanted to say is about mental health is that, you know, when people are having a mental health experience, often, not always, but often, they're experiencing other worlds in fractured consciousness, and people don't know how to handle it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I had worked with delusional people for many years, and because I've had a tremendous imagination during my assessment of them, I would try to find what I wasn't supposed to be looking for as a health provider. You know what I mean? I'm trying to find, is there a spiritual connection? And most of the time there was not.
Let's come back to this on this session, okay?
Okay.
We'll come back to this with everybody's input, because you've touched on something very important and deep and profound.
Yeah, it's fascinating stuff. Yep.
Yeah, and very cool, actually. We'll come back to this. Anna, how?
But can I say one other thing to that, because I'll forget it.
Go ahead.
I want you to remember. Okay, there's a guy, Robert. I'll have to look up his name. He's now on Gaia. He is an incredible genius, and he does mathematics. Well, honestly, I met him, and I won't tell you how, but he passed through my area about 10, 15 years ago. And I looked at all his books, and people were saying this man is nuts. He was not nuts. He is now on Gaia. He is a huge mathematical genius.
Yeah.
And I knew when I spoke to him years ago, he was the only person I've ever spoken with that I actually believed. And he's on Gaia now. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's my.
When we revisit this, I want
Yes.
everyone to hold the intention of answering the question that Bonnie posed to us, right? Of how. How does Bonnie maintain contact with these beings? Let's all have that input, and we'll come back to it. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Anna Stone, how are you doing?
I'm doing much better. I'm doing really well, actually. Yeah, I got rid of some stuff in my life that was highly toxic and took some time to heal with that, I guess you'd say. And now I have some other stuff that came in because guess what? I made room for that. And now, now I'm happy again and like super excited about things. Been doing a lot of readings. Also been popping up like Anna. Also today had a client come out of nowhere. Good stuff. I was crying right before I got on here because her situation was so lovely. Like for one, like a reading where it's like I saw lovely energy from this person and like it made me cry but like in a good way. I hate crying. I hate it more than anything. It makes me uncomfortable, but couldn't help it. And so that was nice. I just feel like things are shifting a lot. And also got extended out a new job opportunity teaching at a different college. That was yesterday. And so that's really great. Yeah, so the good stuff. I got rid of the bad stuff and now guess what? Room for good stuff and it all's happening. It just took me a little downtime of a couple weeks that I gotta learn to not rush that stuff so much, like
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I can see it on your face as well. You look much happier.
I am. Like it's hard to stop smiling.
You look very youthful as well. It's like you've released some.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. It was hard, toxic. It's hard when you in those patterns. It's like really hard to get out of it.
Well, it's like giving birth, right?
Yeah,
it's like you got to go through the trauma, and then on the other side is
right.
a whole new life.
Right. I mean, it's just like letting go and just knowing that you can't force people to see value in you if they're not going to see it, right? Like you can't force that. And if that's their call, that's their call. It doesn't say anything about you. Actually, it says more about them. So like, and just accepting that was difficult, but I did. And now I'm super, immediate. As soon as I actually truly gave into it, then that's when things started just completely shifting like overnight. So
I'm so happy for you.
Thank you. I am too. Never again.
I have to interject for 1 second, because that message was the one that kept coming up over, because I did this reading for a group, and the message that kept coming up was you have to accept people where they are. You cannot change anyone. You have to just have compassion for them in a detached way. Don't get sucked into their stuff. Their stuff has nothing to do with you. And that came up over and over and over.
Yeah.
It seems to be the message of the day.
That's such a life lesson, isn't it?
It is. It's like impossible to see it when you're in it. It's like so hard to see it. Like, but yeah, you're right. It is. People are where they are, and it's not our job or anyone else's job to make them go into a different stage of consciousness or awake understanding, like that's their path and it's may not align with ours, but.
And we're sensitives. We're taking on everyone's crap.
Yeah.
So we even more need to like let that barrier
detach. Like let it be, like the freaking let it be. Like it's hard though, because but yeah, definitely. Yeah, it is. As the message came up in my readings too, also like the ones before this one today. Like a lot of people, I think this eclipse that just happened too, with the full moon, like definitely has some like releasing energy about it, like some kind of ushering things out that we're no longer serving us, like it's a good time to do it. So I took advantage of that.
Very
and
interesting.
Yeah.
Cool. Paul, how are you?
Yeah. I've had a really interesting couple of weeks. So I recently released a new type of reading, It's kind of a reading and a clearing. It's just it's called the Turas de Anam, which means it's Irish, means soul journey. And it was a massive hit. It was awesome. I've been having a blast with it. Everything I have one of those things like everything was going really well. And I'm like, Mercury retrograde is not affecting me. Ha ha ha. Screw you, Mercury retrograde. And the eclipse hit on the full moon, and I got my ass kicked. Honestly, I was like the whole day, because I did this like really, really lovely post about how people can like harness like the energy of almost like having the dark moon and the full moon like at the same time. So there's an opportunity to like release and clear. And I'm like going through my day, and it got to about an hour before the eclipse, and it was like I was stuck to the floor, like, and it was really hard. So I'd planned this little ritual. So obviously I did my usual full moon one, but I had one planned earlier for the eclipse, and it was really hard. It was really like, it was almost like I felt like I was weighted. It was so bizarre. Like lifting my arm was really hard, and like lighting a candle was really hard. Anyway, so I got for it and I pushed for it. That was really cool. And then afterwards, I just felt like I had like a massive download. So that was really cool. Full moon, groovy. And then the last few days, I felt like I fell into a really old pattern. Like, because I didn't have any new bookings, which should have been a blessing and an opportunity for like, I don't know, enjoy some downtime. But I got really freaked out, and I got really stuck in this, oh my God, my business is over. And then I recognized that, you know what, it's the waning moon, it's Mercury retrograde, like use this time to like clear, because obviously that's coming up because it's an old pattern that's still stuck somewhere in my subconscious. So it's an opportunity to clear it and get rid of it. But it's been really hard. It's been really hard. And even though I've had like bookings since, and it's been really cool, I'm still like, yeah, I'm feeling the brunt of the waning moon during a Mercury retrograde. So I am not quite as immune to the Mercury retrograde as I actually thought, and I'm suffering for it. But it's good. It's, you know, it's that soul work.
My good friend Veronica, who lives in Mexico, we met in San Diego when I trained to do the Helio Life reader training. She's a tarot reader. She stopped doing that now, but she's always very, very affected by the retrograde. And I said to her, you know, you can choose not to be affected by it. And at first she was kind of like, it scrambled her brain. But you can actually decide that.
Absolutely. And usually I do. Usually Mercury retrograde, I'm like, it doesn't affect me. It has no bearing on my life whatsoever. It hasn't until the full moon. And that's when it hit. And obviously whatever has come out as a result, because my thing for the Mercury retrograde, like it's like people say that I don't do business deals, you know, communication, blah, 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 all that thing. Right. But for me, it's an opportunity to clear things. So it's almost like, and I use this analogy a lot, it's almost like notching an arrow into the bow, and you're pulling the string back, and that pulling the string back is an opportunity to clear lots of things that block your path, so that when the retrograde ends, you can unloose the arrow, and then you can propel yourself forward. So usually I'm just like, if someone comes up, I clear it, it's all good, I'm fine, it has no effect. But this time,
it's like that saying from the runes, when fishermen can't go to sea, they repair their nets.
Yeah, exactly. And ordinarily I would use it for this purpose, but for some reason the last few days, like all this fear stuff has popped up, and I'm like, I have no clue where it's come from. Well, I do, but it's sort of it took me by surprise. So maybe my lesson is never say never, but just be open and aware to the possibility of what could be.
With me, I did a reading for Tom, actually, who you know, Bonnie, who may be joining us, and I really wanted to get to the bottom of, you know, what was making him ill, and I found it. We got there. So it's really helped me to formulate the question that I want to ask you all. But before I do, I just say something that I'm dealing with. By the way, tomorrow I'm traveling to the US. I'm going to Vegas for 2 weeks.
Ooh.
Oh,
Yeah.
Never been there.
cool.
So I'm quite excited about that. So
Shield your energy.
say again.
Shield your energy.
Thank you.
Like
Thank you.
big time.
Absolutely. Thank you for reminding me. I will. I will. As soon as this call is over, I will do that. So I'm working on the 12-step program right now to do with food, and I've kind of pressed pause on it because I'm really stuck on the surrendering part. And like it's been mentioned this evening, hasn't it, about letting go and surrendering and how it's hard, which of course is a belief, but surrendering is bringing up fear in me too. And I know it's the right thing to do, and once I've decided it, it'll just be really, really easy. Just surrender, and that's what's going to bring the change. But for some reason, somewhere in my psyche, I have felt fearful of surrendering. I think it's probably because I'm a control freak. Yeah.
That might be it.
So here's the question. What belief is no longer serving you? Okay. And I haven't forgotten about coming back to Bonnie's communicating with the cats, which we will do, the cat people. So the question again, what belief no longer serves you? I'm still figuring it out for myself. Does anybody have any thoughts? Yeah, go ahead, Bonnie.
And I don't know what you believe, and whatever you believe is just fine. But I was a born again Christian for over 30 years, from the 1970s to 1998 when I walked away. It took 21 years to get away from the guilt or feelings of you're going to hell, or if you do that, you're not a child of God. And in fact, I got it this week from my daughter, the same argument. And this week I was able to say, you can't put that on me. I'm not that. So don't try to use that to inflict your punishment or your words. Don't use your words to try to control me, because it's not going to work. And that's all I can say. And it took that many years to say, no, it's not going to affect me anymore.
I'm so glad that you've taken back your power and spoken your truth.
And so it might take you that long too. And I still battled with it, but I know it now. I see it.
Well, I sing I don't actually sing in the church. I sing outside the church.
I know.
I'm a gospel singer.
But it goes with you. All the things that you were taught is with you.
Well, I was raised Greek Orthodox, but I'm not of that faith, or I don't believe in. I don't disbelieve it either. Yeah, I was definitely, around sex and sexuality. I'm carrying a huge load of guilt and shame. Oh my God, like a huge bag of it. And just being a male plus being gay, that's a whole big bag of shame and guilt and Christian fucked upness, for want of a better word.
That's right.
So what about anyone else? What belief no longer serves you?
Fear of survival is the best way I could put it, because that's what I'm dealing with at the moment. Or survival mode, or fear. I don't know. It's like this triad between fear, success, and survival mode. That's what came up for me the last few days. And you hit the nail on the head. Because the moment you said it, like the reason why I realize I'm struggling at the moment is because I'm not surrendering to it. Which is why I don't usually get an ass kicking during this time, and it's because I'm fighting against it, because it's the fear, like
Right.
what if after all this time I lose my business?
And if that happens, then a new opportunity will come.
Yeah, I'm terrified of that idea.
You don't even need to think about if that happens. If you come from a place of surrender, that's the challenge, isn't it? That is the challenge itself.
Just
Can I say something to you? You are your business, and nobody is going to take that from you.
Thank you.
Awesome.
That's a really good point. That is a very good point.
Absolutely.
I know I can always go to you for knowledge. If I need to know something about the Druids, if I need to know something about the Celtics, I can go to you. You are a walking book, and you need to publish.
That's
Yeah,
so.
I know. My children's.
You agree, Anna?
Yeah,
Both
definitely.
families.
Absolutely, I do. And like, I don't agree with that often for people, because most people that say they know a lot of stuff about witchcraft and stuff are not really knowing a lot of stuff about it in my experience. So absolutely, like, I had a reading from you, like, you did it. And like, yeah, I witnessed it myself. So it's not going to be taken from you. Only you can take it from you.
Yeah, that's true.
Nobody can take it from you.
Right. And hey, manifestation, like, hello, that mindset.
Yeah, I know.
Tips. Like, you got to go to the mindset of it is all fine. And all businesses have ups and downs, valleys and peaks of their like clients influx and out, that's just life. Like,
yeah, it's true.
That's it. It's totally normal. I have it all the time too. Like, I have tons of people and then nobody, and then tons of people and then nobody, and then a few people here and there. It's just part of business. Like, and everybody has their own lives, it's nothing personal.
I think you need to think bigger. You need to think bigger than a storefront.
I mean, I love your stuff. Your products are amazing, and the prices are like crazy affordable. Like, even the shipping, shipping over to the United States, it would still be cheaper than what they have here to offer, like, and better quality. So like, yeah, you're like selling yourself short here. You know that, like, your imposter syndrome showing.
Yeah, I know. It's true. Yes, that's the word. Thank you. It's the imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
It's the imposter syndrome.
Yeah,
yes.
You got this. Just kick it to the curb. It's good.
Absolutely.
You're fine.
Anna Stone, what belief no longer serves you?
So I have a very long history of not believing people when they tell me about themselves. Like, when somebody tells me who they are, and then that doesn't match with the person that they showed, like presented at some point, I hang on to that original perception that I had over all else, like, in some hope that that's going to manifest back again and be a real thing when it wasn't. So I've now I come to understand that, like, when people show you who the hell they are, like, believe them, like, and know that you're not going to do a damn thing about it, like, because that's not your place in the first place, right? Like, so you just have to let it go, let it be. That's it.
How are you differentiating between, like, if you have a thought about somebody, how do you know that it's not just your intuition? How are you making that discernment?
Well, see, that's the thing, is I like ignore my intuition on this. Like, I just instead go with my idealization of what I want instead of what is actually being presented. So that's ridiculous. Okay, that's like only signing up to get hurt. But when people don't match their actions, don't match their words, and it's like a repeated offense, like when they say, people say that they're going to do something for you or whatever, it doesn't matter. It could be anything. It could be a favor. It could be paying you back for something, anything. Like, if they just constantly do the opposite of what they say they're doing, or present a certain way in front of certain people, but then you see in behind closed doors are completely different people. Like, this persona, it's like a persona that is a front. Like, that is not who they really are. That's who they're trying to pretend to be. Like, you need, like, the person that they are is the one that's not following through. You know what I mean? Like, that stuff. Like, you've got to believe that. Like, you can't. So
can you put it into a sentence?
Yeah. Like, so, like, if people don't keep their word and they keep promising you the world and they never show up for you, they will never show up for you. And you need to accept that and move on.
Okay, got it. Got it. That's really interesting. Thank you. Okay. Because Oprah says that, you know, when people show you who they are, believe them. And I've used that to my partner in an argument. And now I'm kind of scared of saying that, you know, because it has such weight. That statement. It has a lot of weight. Okay, Anna Avlagis, what belief no longer serves you?
Oh, how much time you've got? I identify a lot with what Paul was saying, and I feel like it's a bunch of things that's all under the same umbrella, which is essentially related to the imposter syndrome thing, that like nobody wants my work, nobody's interested, my work is not being received, other people can do what I do better. Who am
Your
I?
work is amazing.
What?
Sorry, I had to say that. I said your work is amazing. I just have to say
Thank you.
sorry, but
No, thank you. And I know, I mean, like I got somebody walking after one session who couldn't walk, you know, like, but it's like lately, like April, my business was completely dead. Like no one, nothing. And so of course I was stuck back in survival mode with like, you know, trying to just scrape together enough money to buy food. So it's like the survival mode thing of like, I'm always going to be in survival mode and I can never expand beyond that. So it's all kind of connected to the same thing. It's all connected to the
Okay,
same.
so condense it into one sentence. What is this belief?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like I feel like it's a lot of stuff, but essentially, I think it comes down to the imposter syndrome thing that I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, and no one wants what I have to give.
Right. Okay.
Mhm.
So bearing that in mind, let's switch it to a new statement of empowerment. Right. The universe has abundant clients for me. For example.
Yeah.
Right. Or I'm totally worthy of receiving all good. Or you know, you do what feels right for you.
It's more like what I can do is perfect for the certain people.
Right.
You know, like I can do things for certain people that no one else in the world will be able to do for them. You know what I mean?
And when I was listening to John DeMartini just before we
Like
came,
I have certain unique gifts.
exactly.
What?
When I
Yeah.
was listening to this guy, this quantum manifestation guy, Dr. John DeMartini, he was talking about how this phrase of the law of attraction, you know, was coined by Rhonda Byrne, who made the film The Secret, and ultimately it exists, but in a different form. Like the universe is kind of like magnetic. And one of the very powerful channeled exercises that I came across in my studies of manifestation is a book all about money. I think it's called Attracting Money. I can't remember the name of the author, but she does channeled work. And the exercise is the magnetic exercise where you turn your heart into like a magnet that's shaped into a coil. And then you start to attract business and money through this magnet.
I think for me, it's not even just about money. This is something deeper.
No,
This is about
definitely.
what I have to give my soul's work. Is it received?
Sure.
Is it wanted? It's like, you know what I mean? So it's really more, am I wanted?
You know what I can feel? I can feel it's like these people are never going to get me. You know, I'm on a different level to these people, and they're never going to understand it. I think that there's an unconscious energy going on.
More like a rejection.
Right.
Like I feel like I've been rejected by.
When I saw you post on that hotel,
What? Oh,
when I saw you doing that workshop at the hotel, you looked so in your element and you looked so natural.
Yeah, you did.
You
yeah.
know,
I was told today by a woman who was the woman who filmed it. She goes, "You were amazing. Like you
you
had."
were.
Thank you. I mean, yeah, it's like I know that I have these gifts, but when you're presenting yourself and it's not received, but a lot of it is just it's in me. It can be very easily triggered. I'm finding when like clients don't show up. It's like that I feel like, oh, I'm not wanted. I thought I was wanted and now I'm not. It's very
Well,
complex.
here's an exercise for you to do in your own time, okay? And this is for all of us as well. It's like imagine a sieve, that you do flour or icing sugar in, right? Sift through the thoughts that aren't serving you and find the one that is really disempowering to you and turn it around.
I just heard I'm not wanted.
Right.
That's I think the heart of it. I'm not wanted.
Do you want you? Do
Ooh,
you receive you?
That's a very good question.
Because I mean I resonate so completely, right? As a gay man, like who's a goth, who's a pagan, who's a little bit weird, who speaks to trees and spirits that aren't there, like I'm not your average kind of gay man. I'm not into fashion, and I honestly I mean that in the most respect, and I don't mean that to be disrespectful or stereotypical. However, because I'm not like a lot of other gay men, I have that belief that no other gay guy wants me. So guess what? That shows up a lot in my relationships. The question we all have to ask ourselves is would we, whatever it is, would we receive ourselves? Would we want ourselves? Would we date ourselves? And I had this experience.
I've asked myself that question. Like, would I date myself? And I think, hell yeah.
Yeah. Hell yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Here's your answer right there.
You know what? I had this experience a few years ago. Like I broke up with this guy, or he broke up with me, and it was all messy and ugh. And I had this experience when I was going through a park, and I was thinking about like all of the things that like I quote unquote thought were wrong with me. Then what I realized, I came to this conclusion that I've been through, like all of us, we've all been through terrible things. But I thought to myself, you know what? I've been through all of these terrible things. And at the end of it, I didn't become bitter or angry or horrible to the world, although I did for a while when I was in pain. I came out of it with one overriding thought. How can I be more loving? How can I be more compassionate? How can I be more kind? You know what? And if I can go through all of those terrible things and actually come out the other side feeling that way, that actually makes me a really good catch. Like, and then I went, do you know what? I fall in love with myself. Of course, years later, I'm still dealing with the same stuff. But I had this profound moment, and I'm walking through this park having this conversation in my own head. And I started to cry, and people were coming up to me like, oh, you okay? And I was like, yeah, no, good. But like, it's the same question. If you know you can fall in love with yourself, then do you receive your own work? That's the question, isn't it?
I've often wished that I could hire myself. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, I need a me. I need another me. It's.
Can I say something? Because
I feel that whatever this is something very, 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 very deep in my psyche. Very deep. It's because I don't have any conscious thoughts of not being worthy. It's something that gets triggered when I stop getting clients, for example.
The same for me. We're having the same
triggers that. And it baffles me. I'm like, why would somebody not want me?
Go ahead, Bonnie.
Very deep.
Yeah. What Anna's saying is honestly the same thing I was thinking about myself. Okay. I know things that people on Gaia don't know, and they're up there talking about they know everything, and yet they don't ask me. And I've experienced, I know exactly what you're saying. So what Alexis is saying is true, maybe for all of us, that because we have to love ourselves, and I do love me, and I know I'm weird, just like you know, I know I'm weird, and I know I'm breaking up. I think the weather's getting bad, but anyway, what Alexis was saying is true, and it fits for me too. It's a good thing.
Do you know the origin of the word weird? Do you know where it comes from? Weird.
Wizard.
Huh?
Wizard.
Isn't it wise?
No. It comes from the Norse word, the weird, the three fates, right? The three norns that spin the web of fate, right? So the whole idea of you're weird, you stand outside of fate, which means you're in control of your own destiny.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
weird didn't mean like.
And that's why they don't like
Weird
you. They
sisters.
don't want you to be in control. There you go.
Exactly.
The Weird Sisters. is
What
kind
did
of-
you say, Anna Stone? What did you say?
It didn't used to be that. Weird didn't mean what it means now. Just like selfish didn't used to mean what it means now. Like there's words that get twisted in our interpretation or our translations of them. But this is a thing, guys. Like I've noticed in my studies in psychology and spirituality is that people that are chosen, whatever, special, and then we have a problem with that. We have a problem accepting that because we don't want to come off as arrogant and like whatever, because we are always systematically at some point in our lives told the opposite of that. Like somewhere in our life path, like people will put us and tell us that we're less than, or to shut us up and to keep us quiet and to discredit like us because they don't want us to be heard, right? Like every single person I know that has any kind of gift has had some kind of trauma, like where they were told that they were less than, or keep it to themselves, or like don't show who you are, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it convinces us that we're bad, and that becomes our shadow that we then internalize, and that's where this is popping up for all of us, is that less than thing. And another thing too is that I know that most of us, if not all of us, have had toxic relationships, right? But in the beginning they weren't. And the person you fell in love with at the beginning, that person that was so perfect, that was fake, that was you. You were falling in love with yourself, because what they're doing is mirroring all of the things about you back to you. So you literally are falling in love with their perception of how you are. That they're becoming that for you, and that's what it is. So that's why people get caught in those relationships, because they're literally just showing you who you are in themselves, and you're falling in love with who you are. You're falling with yourself.
That's
and
right.
So that's like twisted, right? But
It's interesting.
I think it's part of like the healer, psychic, whatever path. It's like these are those trials and tribulations that we all get put through, and like a lot of people, like what Bonnie was saying earlier with the delusions and stuff. A lot of people can't handle it. They can't, and it breaks them. Like, and it does it. They don't have any guidance for it, and
People find it embarrassing. Like, if somebody starts talking about seeing cat people in the trees,
Right.
like, oh my God,
Right.
Come on.
I mean, yeah, like it can be, right. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
but
called magical.
we don't think it's weird, but maybe the lady in the supermarket checkout.
Well, I know
think it's
definitely when I
weird.
go to therapy, I don't say certain things to my therapist, like
Yeah.
because I know what good enough, like I know enough to know that I don't want to be labeled as a magical thinker, because that is a bad negative term. That means that you are outside of reality, like literally. But that is actually also true. So it's
Absolutely.
like, yeah, you can't win with this.
Can I have a show of hands who wants to go first, second, third, fourth with their segments? We're at 1:45. But before we do, there's something that I want to address Bonnie's question. But show of hands, who wants to go first with their segment? You had your hand up first, Paul. So you're first. Who's second?
Doesn't matter to me.
Any preference? Okay. Well, okay, Paul, we'll come to you in a second. But before we do, I want to address Bonnie's question of, how does she communicate, or how do we all communicate with this race, with this interstellar race, right? I would like to go first with answering that question. And for me, it's very simple. It's telepathy. And that I see as just holding the thought and the intention of communicating with them. Hello, are you there? Are you there? Talk to me if you're there. Show me a sign that you're there. that simple, right? That for me, that's what I would say to you is how easy it is. And I don't know if it works because I haven't tried it, but that's my suggestion. Anybody else?
Yeah, I would say, like, for me, when
Yeah.
working with any kind of spirit or she or fae, whatever term you want to use, like, offerings are a massive part of those kind of traditions. So any kind of communication or imparting of wisdom has to be reciprocated with a sacrifice, right? So the origin of the word sacrifice means sacred offering. So to give something in return for what you receive. So every morning I get up, and all of my altars, I lay offerings for the various deities and the spirits that I work with as a sort of a gratitude for their continued presence in my life when they give me, what many would call downloads, when they impart wisdom to me. I give an offering. So whether it's a bowl of something, so for example, the she, it's like milk and honey. From Oregon, it's like wine with roses. For Canonis, I burn woods. So find out a little bit about these beings. Like you said, they're on this program. Maybe you can find out what they would like as an offering, or do something in the spirit of openness. Perhaps, I don't know, leave something out, like obviously permitting for whatever creatures live near your home. Maybe bake some bread or something and leave it as an offering to say, thank you for being a part of my life. And as long as you approach
cats would like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, milk.
What was that?
Or cream.
Something cats would like.
Something cats would like.
Oh, the Irma are not. They're not meat eaters. They're not carnivorous. Just to let you know.
So there you go. So something like that. I mean, maybe a crystal or something. But as long as you approach it with humility and openness and willingness to receive what is given, then you'll be all right. The only other thing I would say is that sometimes when receiving guidance, like, there are some beings out there who will expect you to follow it. And sometimes you might have a feeling like, oh, that doesn't sit comfortable with me, to practice discernment. Sometimes the thing about beings that live beyond the physical realm, because they live beyond the physical realm, they don't understand the physical struggles, that we all have to go through. So to a degree, we have to practice discernment. But sometimes that's a test in and of itself. Are you willing to blindly obey, or are you willing to sit within your own integrity? Yeah, that would be my advice.
That's great. That's great advice.
Can I
Go
say
ahead,
something?
Anna.
Yeah, when you originally posed the question, my very first thought was automatic writing.
And I do automatic writing.
Do you ask to speak to them?
I have not, but I will. Thank you.
And I also feel, in addition to automatic writing, and make sure you specify them,
Okay.
Because
you're breaking up.
Of your artistic gift, I think you could also do it through art. Yeah, because of your artistic gift, you could also do it through art. I think both.
Okay, good idea. That could be the sacrifice right there. That could be the offering.
Yeah, give a piece of your art to them.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, thank you. Very good. Excellent.
Yeah, Anna Stone.
Rich, not doing us now.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I was gonna say I agree with yours. Like about the intention, like putting it out there, because that's what my understanding is. That's how they hear you, anyways. Is like they're telepathic anyway. So, that's what I would go with. Is like, maybe you have to go outside. I'm not sure like if that matters, but like go outside and put that intention out.
It really does.
Kind of thing. Or also you could use like a spirit box. Maybe they can come through on radio waves, because they do use like. We find radio signals in outer space all the time, right? Sound waves travel infinitely. Right, like you could get one of those apps on your phone that do like the white noise box and see if you hear anything.
Yeah.
Good
I
just got a new one. I
idea.
downloaded one.
Ooh,
there's free
idea.
one. There's free, but I got one that's paid for, and it's kind of trippy a little bit. Like I literally was like, what's my name? And they're like, Anna.
Okay, you guys have opened up the whole thing here.
It's so interesting, isn't it? They need to have us on a panel for like
they do.
the ET panel.
Yeah.
The mystical
Should be.
sound.
Let's manifest that.
Why don't we
Yeah.
start one? I think we should start one.
I think that's a great idea. Well, you know, when you were talking, Paul, about the offerings of rice and or whatever it. Sorry, not rice. It reminded me of this ancestor. You know, like leaving rice for your ancestors, and also leaving shiny sweets or just shiny things for the fairies.
Yeah.
It's very similar. I thought everyone's suggestions were amazing. Hope that helps, Anna. And sorry, Bonnie. I hope that helps. Okay, well, let's. Sorry, were you going to say something before Paul starts the segment? Anything you want to say?
Yeah. Oh,
Just before Paul starts. No. Okay, go ahead, Paul.
I just wanted to say one thing. You said about leaving shiny things for the fairies.
Yeah.
You'll be better off if you leave milk and honey mixed together, or baked goods. They prefer those things over shiny objects. It's the shiny objects thing is a later Victorian thing, but in tradition, it's milk and honey and baked goods, particularly
Nice.
sweet baked goods. So like things like pastries or even breads. There you go.
Cool. I'm gonna give each of you 10 minutes for your segments, and yours starts now. 10-minute countdown, Paul.
So I was going to talk about a tree from the Celtic Ogham known as Natal, which is both broom and fern. However, listening to everyone and kind of listening to what some of us are going through around that imposter syndrome, I want to offer a meditation, if you will. So in this meditation, so to give you a quick background before we start it, in the Celtic tradition, obviously there is no concept as the chakras. However, there are 3 cauldrons that run through the body. One that sits in the head, which is known as the cauldron of wisdom. One that sits in the heart, which is known as the cauldron of motion. And one that sits in the belly, that's known as the cauldron of incubation. Now, interestingly, I'm going to mix a little bit here, because I recently read this thing about the root chakra and about survival mode and how we can turn its energies outward in order to attract and manifest the things that we need. So I'm gonna borrow it very, very slightly, but I want to talk you through it. And I've done the meditation with you before. I don't know if you'll remember, some months back, where we visualized that we became trees and there were blooms all over us, and the wind scattered the pollen, which was carried through the winds. Similar idea to that, but slightly different. So if you'd like to close your eyes just for a moment.
Before we go into the eyes closed, I miscalculated. My apologies. It's 7.5 minutes each.
That's cool. It's going to be in 7.5 minutes. You're cool.
Go ahead.
Right. So if you'd just like to close your eyes and begin to breathe. Breathe into the still center of your being. And just consider Mother Earth beneath you, grounding and giving you stability and support, and enveloping you so completely in her love as you breathe into the still center of your being. And as you breathe, visualize roots coming out of the lower part of your body, out of your bottom, and your legs and your feet, going all the way deep into the earth, connecting into the interconnected rootwork system that exists in the ground. And for a moment, I want you to hold a thought, a dream, an idea that you wish to manifest in the physical reality. And I want you to hold it almost like holding in a cauldron inside your head. And I want you to breathe into that intention that you wish to manifest. And then imagine that cauldron tipped and the water from it poured into a cauldron located in the center of your chest, located in the center of your heart. Filling that intention with the feeling of love. Breathe into the love of the dream you wish to manifest in the physical reality. And then on your next breath, I want that cauldron to tip into a cauldron-like womb in your belly, preparing it to be given birth. And then on your next breath, I want that cauldron to tip and to pour into the roots connected into the ground, nurturing the ground around you with your dream filled with love, now given birth into the earth, giving nutrients to your dream. And with that, I want you to visualize from your roots, filled with the love of your dream, given birth into form, little shoots pushing up through the earth, pushing out through all of your body. And those shoots then open into flowers, beautiful flowers of your dreams. And as the gentle breeze, or perhaps strong wind, comes along, blows upon the flowers in the ground and all surrounding on your body, carrying the pollination of your dreams and scattering it through the wind, pollinating the land with your dream filled with love, given birth into the world. Just allow the pollination of the world with your dream. And know that wherever that pollen lands, new flowers will be pollinated, new flowers will grow, and your dream will manifest more and more and more. Hold the intention that you are giving birth to your dreams. And then when you're ready, you can open your eyes.
I love that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Awesome. Who would like to go next? Bonnie, is that you with your hand up?
Yeah, that's me. I'll go. Before I go next, I have to say something to Anna Pavlakis that I was getting as she was speaking. And it came more clear during Paul's meditation. And what I was seeing was for you, there has to be a display of something of your work in front of you that you are seen in a video or out in front in public, where the world sees your production.
It's important.
Because it is. And it's not that you don't have it, you do. But the world has to see it. And it's got to be, actually, it's got to be in front of you that you're laying it out. This is my gift. And this is what I do. And you, in a way, you're going to have to give some of it away for free. It's going to have to be freebies so that you get yourself out there. And as much as you don't want to, it has to be done, because we all have to make a living.
It's not that I don't want it.
No, I know, but people say, well, you guys shouldn't charge. Well, that's not true. Okay, you have a gift. Okay, but in order to get that gift going, sometimes we have to, give it out there. Give it as a gift, and that's what I
why
was
did the
seeing.
thing. That's why I did the thing on Friday. I was like, oh, I'm going to do a WESAC thing Friday. It's free.
Yeah.
Whoever comes, comes. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's a very hard thing to show. That's difficult. Uh, that you're getting. I can't even think of the word of it. What is it that you do? I can't think of the word.
The shamanic healing or the feng shui or
The feng shui. The feng shui. I'm seeing the feng shui.
the shamanic
Okay.
healing.
Okay, and so the feng shui has got to be laid out in front of
Or the
you.
shamanic healing. I feel like that's more.
Okay, either way
Yeah.
you're feeling, you go with that, but you lay it out in your hand, and this is my gift. This is what I do.
I can really sense what you're saying, Bonnie. I'm interpreting it, and I can feel it. It's
Yeah.
you getting it, right, Anna? You're getting what she's saying.
Well, I mean, I've felt for years that I need to be seen in the world, across the world.
Yeah,
I'm meant to be seen.
it's like a video that advertises your services, where you're doing some kind of presentation.
Something beautiful. Something
Can you subscribe
gorgeous.
to my YouTube channel?
What did you say?
Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Integrated
Oh yeah, I need to do that. I'll do
Soul
that.
Healing, if you haven't already.
Can you put
Yes.
blurbs of it on Facebook? Just boop, on
Yeah,
Facebook.
I've
Just
done that. The thing is, I've done all that. I've done that, and then like
keep doing it.
Yeah.
Keep doing the right. Sorry.
I'm sorry. I was going to say we have to move on to the segment
Okay,
because of
that's all
time.
Okay.
But it's very valuable what you're saying, and it's worthy of being discussed more.
Okay.
Okay, so you go ahead, Bonnie.
Okay. I'm just going to take a few seconds here because what I'm bringing to you is Jamaican cold pressed castor oil.
Wow.
It comes from the castor plant.
Is it the black one?
Black. This is white oil.
Okay.
See how thick it is? Can you see
Wow.
that? Okay, that is so thick. Anyway, it was recommended to me for my eyes, and Paul and I were talking about, I put this in my eyes, and I do not recommend it. It almost killed my eyes, but I was told it was okay. Don't do that. But what I have found out is this is incredible, and I needed to bring it to all of our attention because I don't know about you, but my mother and my grandmother always had castor oil packs. And they always said to me, oh, you got to boil, you got to pimple, you got to this, you got to that. Put the castor oil pack on it. And I'm like rolling my eyes thinking, I'm not going to put that castor oil pack. But I swear by this stuff now, because if I take a drop of this oil, okay, just a drop, and I put this under my eyes, it is oily as it can be. But I want you to know, in just a little bit of time, my face will eat up every bit of this oil. And if you do, and put this on your lips, this is great for the lips. I recommend this oil for all of you. This is some of the best stuff for makeup, for your sores. They say put it on your eyelashes. That's all I can say. I know Paul has some things he could add.
Wow, I've got to say before you do, Paul, that your eyes after you put that on, it changed much. And I want to say two more things. Edgar Casey talked about castor oil packs, and I know that they work. because I use castor oil every single day. I make
Do
my
you?
own, yes, I do. I make my own beard oil that I use all over my face and hair, and it's
Uh-huh.
so beautiful. I add essential
It
oils.
is.
I add a beautiful, very, very expensive Australian flower essential oil called Blue Tansy.
Okay.
It's and lemongrass and all the ones that are good for skin, like lavender, frankincense, myrrh. Yeah, but
Good
beautiful
stuff.
stuff. Beautiful stuff.
It
I've never
is.
come across the Jamaican one.
This is supposed to be one of the best ones, so they say. So, and that's why I bought it, because my eyes are special and I wanted the best of cold pressed. So
And
I put that up at the,
I have I have several skin conditions, and I've got to tell you that that castor oil heals my skin.
Mm.
I believe it.
I told the
I believe it.
dermatologist, and she was like, "Wow."
I believe it. And
Yeah.
I think that makeup companies, I think a lot of them do use castor oil, but I think you can buy it on your own for pennies less. I know I did a research on oils for the face, and I found that the same oils I was using, the cheapest I could find was $150 for small, maybe 2 ounces. And yet I'm paying less than $20 for the oils.
Yeah, you can get it. You can get it for a
Yeah.
good price.
Yeah.
Paul, I'm sorry I interrupted. I had to say what I wanted to say.
No,
Were you
you're
going to
good.
say something?
Yeah, I was just going to say, it's funny because it came up in a conversation with a friend of mine who's a former hairstylist. So you can take a castor oil, like say like 10 mils, 20 mils worth of castor oil, and put a couple of drops of clove oil into it, add that to your shampoo, and it's a superior hair regrowth remedy.
Wow.
However, the only
Yes,
thing
it
is
is.
that clove oil, if you get clove oil in your eyes, you can make yourself go blind. So you have to
Yeah,
be
not good. Be very, very careful.
But even just castor oil on its own, mixed into your shampoo, makes your hair really thick and make it so if you have like a hair growth issue, or like us guys, we get to a certain age and we start losing our hair. It is like forget your caffeine shampoo and your regrain stuff for like 70 quid a time. Good old fashioned castor oil does the trick.
Well, clove needs to be a future healing herb because it's so.
Yes. Yes, it
And,
does.
there's a potent magical ally as well. It's amazing. Like even just like cloves themselves, like they're amazing.
You know, when I was having tooth trouble, I literally would sleep with like a few cloves in my mouth, and
Yeah,
it felt like a comforter.
yeah,
You know, when you're a baby.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. No, it's funny because a friend of mine, she's from the deep south in America, and her grandmother always used to carry cloves in her purse for one of two reasons: like toothache, boredom, naughty kid, can't find a sweet. Cloves, like cloves, apparently was like a dual remedy for everything.
This tea
Like,
that my grandma used to make,
Mhm.
it was like heaven, and it was just basic tea with cinnamon sticks, cloves, and star anise.
yes, great for the
Darn.
stomach.
Yes.
That great. That's add that with chamomile, fresh chamomile, or like chamomile flowers. If you've ever got acid reflux, brilliant for acid reflux. Absolutely amazing. Or any kind of like when you got the upset stomach, you've drunk too much the night before. It's amazing for that.
Awesome. Gonna have to
Well,
move
we'll do
on.
cloves next time. We'll do
Yes,
cloves
let's do
next time.
cloves on the next
Okay.
one.
Okay.
Cool.
All right.
Cool. No worries. We do have 49 seconds, but I'm claiming them. Who's next? Go ahead, Anna.
Oh, and by the way, I kept thinking about how Greeks put cloves and cinnamon in the tomato sauce.
Ooh, that sounds delicious.
Good ingredient. Okay. Alexis asked me to talk on this one topic, and forgive my connection, I know it's crappy. So Alexis last time asked me if I would talk about the Ascended Master Dwakul, because I invoke him a lot and whatever. So I don't know if you've heard of him. It's spelled DJWHALKHUL. And I first heard about him through my former spiritual teacher who was from Haiti. And I swear to God, I thought he was invoking Dracula. I thought he was saying Dwakul, Dracul. I was like, why is he invoking Dracula? So he's an ascended master that originally came through with with Madame Blavatsky, who founded the Theosophical Society in the late 19th century. So Madame Blavatsky was the one who first started talking about him, and then later, and I think more importantly, was Alice Bailey. So if you read her work, she talks extensively about Dwakul, and may have even known him because he was supposed to have been in a human body. He's also known as the Tibetan. You might have heard that because he was Tibetan. He also, Elizabeth Clare Prophet, if you know her from the Summit Lighthouse, Elizabeth Clare Prophet, said that he was Caspar, one of the three kings, the three magi, the one who brought the gold to Jesus. So he's had like a lot of different lifetimes. So other previous incarnations of him was he was a follower of the Buddha. He was a follower of Pythagoras. And he was in a human body in Tibet. Or if not Tibet, then northern India near the Tibet border. They say he might have been an abbot of a Tibetan monastery there in like northern India. So essentially what he is a teacher. That is his primary role, is teacher. And his goal is to help us in our ascension process and our spiritual growth. He's here to help birth the new earth, to the new age. I mean, I know that term is no longer in fashion, but his teachings were a big part of the whole New Age movement. But I don't particularly like that term either. But whatever, his role is to be a teacher, and he's also known as the great psychologist because his work goes very much into the heart of psychology and helping people understand their psychology, which I think is really essential when we talk about spirituality. I think spirituality is really understanding our psychology as much as possible, understanding ourselves. So I don't know if you know anything about the rays, the 7 rays. There are 7 rays of God, and each one has a different function, and we all carry all of them, but some of them are more predominant in us. That's a whole other topic I can't go into right now. But he's one of the masters of the 2nd ray, which is the ray of love and wisdom. And this also has to do with teaching. That's the ray associated with teaching. He's considered the director of communications. They have jobs, Ascended Masters, they have jobs. So his job is to be the director of communications for the Ascended Masters. He's very, very available to channel and to connect with. He's very, very easy to connect with. My teacher's teacher was Dr. Joshua David Stone, who I think was a great, amazing spiritual teacher, very humble. And Joshua David Stone was also a psychologist and a therapist. So his work was very, very focused on psychology. In fact, he wrote a book that I think everybody should read called Soul Psychology. It's a really amazing book. So he works with him a lot. And so one of the tools that I use a lot, which is the Core Fear Matrix Removal Program, I've used it in this group It helps remove fears and so on, because it helps you get to the root cause of why you have these problems. He's one of the masters that I invoke when I work with that. So what else do I want to say about him? With Joshua David Stone, some say that, because he's passed on, that the role that Dwakul has played, especially as the master of the second ray, some of his duties may have been assumed by Joshua David Stone since his transition, and because he's probably an ascended master himself now. There's this idea that he's sort of passed on some of these duties. And importantly, he has a teacher himself, which is Master Kutumi. That is he's under Kutumi. Kutumi's like his teacher, because in this way of thinking, there is a hierarchy to all these different beings. So, you know, everyone has a teacher, really, which I think keeps us humble, right? And I think that's all I wanted to say. Yeah. Yep, that's all I wanted to say.
That was so informative, amazing. Thank you so much. That was incredible. I want to ask you, next time that you do a segment, could you please do it on the 7 rays?
It's a huge topic. I cannot do it in 7 minutes. It's
Could you do one of the 7 rays?
Again, that's a huge topic. I could talk in 7 minutes about the 7 rays, but very generally. I mean, this is you have to.
Right.
It's not a quickie. It's
sure. Well,
it's very complex.
If
but
you
I mean, like I do whole classes.
If you feel inspired to do that, that would be wonderful.
Okay, let me think of a way that I could do it in a short period.
Okay.
I could introduce them. I could just introduce them.
Yeah, sounds great. Very informative. Thank you.
Because they help. Understanding the rays helps you understand your psychology.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Very, very fascinating, particularly the part of him being one of the 3 wise men and the Pythagorean connection. All of it fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
Anna,
and a lot of connections with the Buddha. Yeah.
Say again?
A lot of connections with the Buddha.
Wow. Wow. Just wow. Anna,
supposedly there are people who actually met him when he was in a human body.
There's so much information there. And I realize we're whizzing through stuff in very, very short space of time. Anna Stone, you're up next if you would like.
Yeah, so from a departure from, my trauma talks every time, I'm going to go with happy thoughts today instead and talk about how do we experience like happiness? Like how can we get out of our more negative mindsets and get into a space of experiencing happiness on a more regular basis? And so, I was going to talk about that. So I'm not sure if you are aware, because I wasn't aware of this, but it makes sense as soon as I heard it in one of my classes that I'm in right now for my graduate program. In order to be truly happy or to experience joy, you have to be present in the moment. You cannot be thinking about anything from the past. You cannot be worried about anything about what's going to happen in the future. You have to be in the here and now. And this is a problem for many of us, and there's actually biological reasons why it's a problem, and that would be because of how our brains are structured. So bad experiences trigger stronger and more memorable emotions than good ones do. And we have this built-in tendency to focus on the negative rather than the positive. So say, for instance, you have a business online and you have reviews and you have 500 5-star reviews, and then you get one 1-star review, and it's, and that's all you think about. You just forget the 500 5-star reviews. It's like, I'm just focused on this one, I think we can all relate to that. Like that, it eats you up, right? But there's a reason for this, and it's because of, again, like back to the hunter-gatherer days. It's like because feelings of panic and dread and like things like that were a life-saving mechanism for us in those days when everything was dangerous. But we don't have those anymore, but our brains haven't changed. Like, so again, it's the same reaction to a fatal threat, like that we experience over the silliest of things nowadays, right? So because back then we were always under constant fear of a violent attack that would literally like, eat us alive. So now we don't have that so much at all, but we have what we call a negativity bias, where we're always paying attention to the negatives more than the positives. So how do we get out of that? What do we do? So first of all, again, it's about like letting yourself be present, like having a time where you just shut off, like from your phone or from emails, and just like be present. Like if you have kids, to be present with them, like, or anything that can be more of an innocent kind of nature to them, like that awe and like curiosity that kids have. I find that very grounding for me with Lucy, when I want to actually be happy, to go hang out at her level. But then the other thing too is like, to start doing things that show us that we're not so bad off. So like when we have moments where we're thinking our businesses are failing because we're not getting clients, right? It would be maybe wise to like start collecting like instead of like a bad news, like register of things, a good news register of things, like a box of good moments, like, and token little things that can remind you of like, oh, when this was bad, but then this other good thing happened. And like kind of, it's because we focus on negatives all the time. Like when we do have good days or good weeks or, runs of things, like find a little memento that you can have from that moment and put it in a box, right? And then like when you start to feel down about like your situation, go get that box out and look through it, like to remind yourself. So these are like symbolic tokens of the reality of the situation, right? And so these are just like, and it might sound silly, but honestly, like, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but like I've had enough of like not fun stuff in my life. Like I want to start being more present for what is out there that's positive and fun and not drama. So I'm starting this, like I started doing this, and I'm and it's been working. Like I'm able to ground much better into like the fact that this is temporary, whatever it is, and like it will pass, like, and just to remain like hopeful, and like sometimes it's hard, so that those tokens help like a visual representation of like, hey, no, it's fine, it'll be fine again. So something like that, something as simple as that, of just little reminders, can like really reset our brains. And it's all about rewiring how the neuroplasticity of our brain, it is malleable, and we can still create new pathways to like start to be more happy in general. We just have to actually make an effort at it. And then that's like literally that's as hard as it is. Like if we try and we keep working at it, it will eventually happen. But we got to be like kind of, we got to be consistent and like persevere on it. So I just thought that was interesting, because I think that we all have those moments. I know we do. We all do. And we all get in our heads. And it's easier said than done to just let it go, right? It is. It is. But like something as simple as going to like an amusement park, right? And like getting on a roller coaster or something silly like that, where you kind of like let it go and like just get to yell and scream and like control danger, like that kind of control danger. That actually really works well for people, because you're in a perceived sense of danger, right? Like on a scary ride or something, but there's hopefully, check and maintenance. See, there's my negative thoughts. Like the maintenance hopefully is all good on the rides, so nothing will happen while you're on them. But like that is a perfect like way to do that, like because it triggers that fight or flight, cortisol like release in our bodies. But at the same time, our brains are like, no, we're safe because we're in these harnesses and we're like protected in this car. And so it's like this fun, safe way to experience danger that like kind of gives our body that fix that we need, and also doesn't have the long-term damage of like constant stress, if that makes sense, right? So like silly little things like that, if you can just find a way, like every couple months, go do something fun like that, go drive in a race car on a track or something, like something kind of a little kind of dangerous, but not, is also a way to help release that like predisposed, like have tendency to like focus on more negatives and to like let yourself get eaten up by stress and fight or flight. So I just thought I'd share that with you guys, because I'm learning that now, and I think it's very useful in my life personally. So hopefully, it'll resonate for somebody as well. That's all.
Awesome. I love that so much. Thank you. And I got to say, you look really beautiful. I love your earrings, and you look amazing.
Thank you. I feel so much better. And that's the thing too, is like when you're like that kind of stuff like actually impacts us on an actual like physical level, like having negativity in our lives, like wrinkles, like just holding your face at like a stress level, right? You get those wrinkles in your forehead. I had them really bad recently too, and I was like, I noticed, I'm like, okay, no more. Like we're gonna like get this under control. Like when you're really in a good spot, it shows through. Like no matter what you're doing, like you can see it. So and do yourself a favor and like try to, purge things. We just had that eclipse, right? With the full moon and the eclipse. Like it's time to like cut out stuff. Like this month of May, I guess, is a really good month to like let things go. Not so much to start new things though, because of that eclipse, but to let things go, get them out of your life, and kind of reorganize things, and then going forward for the next phase of the year, the summer months. So, yep.
Awesome. Well, Abraham talks about the book of positive aspects, and it was very similar to what you were talking about. And I love the idea of the box of positive things and being in the moment. And, it reminded me of the present is called the present because it's a gift and all of that.
Yeah, exactly.
You're such an incredible resource for me, and I'm sure for all of us. Thank you so much for your presence and your wisdom and your sharing. Bonnie, I love your hair down like that. It really suits.
Thank you. Thank you.
Are you wearing yellow eyeshadow?
I can't wear any eyeshadow. I'm naked. My eyes are naked.
I'm seeing the yellow of your top being
Sure.
being picked out in your makeup. You look like you're wearing makeup.
And
You
I'm
look
not.
great.
Thank you. Thank you.
You all look so beautiful to me. Honestly, you become more beautiful as the weeks go by.
That's why we love you.
It's reciprocated. There was a couple of questions before we close that I wanted to ask you all. It's probably a little bit much, and I should probably save it for next time. I'm just looking through my notes. Okay, let's say in one word, what do you want? Okay, here's the question for you. What do you want? Paul.
What do I want? A little cottage in the country with a beautiful garden where I grow all of my own herbs and flowers, and I kind of live a life like the village cunning man. I really love that idea.
That's so sweet, and there's no reason why we can't have what we want.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Bonnie, what do you want?
I think we've been talking about it today, all of us, and it's I want to be recognized. I don't know why. It's not for fame or fortune. It's just, yeah, she knows what she's talking about, That's personal. But what do I want for the world? I want us all to find our peace and to be able to live independently and to be recognized without any kind of constraints or things that say you must do this or this or this. I want the freedom for all of us. Beautiful. You can be gay. As long as a child or a dog or an animal isn't being hurt, you have freedom.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Thank you.
That's my point.
How about you, Anna Stone? What do you want?
I actually would just really like to have a normal relationship with somebody that is like at my same level and like can appreciate what I bring to the table and kind of mirrors me in a different way where they have like things that I lack and vice versa, and also that is happy for my successes and not jealous of them. That would be great. That would be awesome. I fully believe that that's possible and that it's out there, and I am not giving up hope on that at all. And I deserve it. Damn it, I do, because I'm really cool. I'm really chill, and I'm a nice person, and I care about people a lot. Well, probably a little bit more than I should sometimes. And like, to be honest, and I deserve that. And I deserve to have like a happy, stable situation around me. And I'm not going to settle for anything less going forward. So it is.
I undamn it. You damned it. I undamn it.
Can I say something, Anna? Sorry.
Yeah.
As you were saying that, like I saw 8 months. 8 months.
Oh,
Cool.
Look out for
Well,
8 months.
ooh,
8 months
right.
time.
That's a good gestation period.
Is that 8 months or eight month of August, my birthday month?
Oh, I don't know. I just saw 8 months, so it could
That's
be.
interesting.
I met somebody, so I'm like kind of excited. So like I don't know. Well, I'm like not getting ahead of myself either. But like, you know, just that giddiness is back. Like the giddiness, the hopefulness is back. So that's something I thought. Very
Love
happy.
that.
Cool.
Anna Pavlakis, what do you want?
Besides world domination,
The only honest one out of all of us, huh? Yes.
my
The dominatrix is coming out.
well, mine is a little similar to Paul's, but also bigger. I want my gorgeous freaking house villa surrounded by maritime Mediterranean pine trees overlooking the
oh,
Mediterranean.
good. We can visit.
Yes, you can visit. It is beautiful. It's big and airy. There's a big kitchen. There's a yurt to do ceremonies and all of that and to do.
And we've all seen it. We've all seen it for you. So we know it's coming.
Right? It's there. And there's a beautiful man with me. There's this very masculine, strong, solid, grounded, stable guy with me. And
Will you draw a picture of him? Will you draw a picture of him? You don't have to be perfect. Not perfect. Just draw his picture.
Okay.
That's a great idea.
I could try.
Okay.
Yeah. To help you bring him into manifestation.
I mean, you know.
Love that. Wow.
But the house, you know, it's got a pool.
Draw the house
it's
too.
It's really beautiful, and I really see the kitchen. Oh yeah, I think I have, but yeah, I've seen this for a few years, and it's getting clearer. But the room, of course, that I see the most clearly is the kitchen, because me. If you know anything about me, you know that I love to cook and to feed people. So I've got this big sort of country kitchen, and it's there's an herb garden outside, and it's a beautiful, very peaceful house, but it's luxurious, simple luxury. Yeah. I don't want a humble house.
No.
That's okay. No problem.
No, I don't want some little cottage. No, I want this big ass gorgeous villa, and people walk in there like, wow,
Oh.
lucky bitch.
I want my songs in the world. I want my songs to be heard by the world. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Voice.
Yeah. You need to get it out there too.
Yeah.
Voice heard in the world.
More and more. More
Yeah.
and more.
So I see you've been working on a piece of art. Perhaps you could close this session, and everybody will say gratitude and close this session. So talk us through it, Bonnie.
Okay. So I have been writing down notes as everyone speaks. You are weird, Paul. So if you'll send the word, if you'll write that down, what the weird means. Yeah. Okay. And then I wrote down castor oils and Gabriel, teacher of the new wave, I put. And then happiness, recyclable, be present now, be here now. And then give offerings, say thank you, use the EVP, the IRMA, telepathy, use telepathy. And then I'll have to write something in that Alexis just said. And that is what I've been doodling on.
It reminds me of a rocket, the center.
Well, here, I have been walking around for days.
Wow, look at that flora.
Okay. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that gorgeous?
That is gorgeous.
Isn't that gorgeous?
Wow.
I love this.
That is so cool.
This is for grounding. This is for love. And this, I think, is for mental clarity.
Wow.
Does anybody know? I don't know the name of it.
It's a fluorite, I believe.
Yeah. So I've been putting it to my brain.
Well, let me quickly tell you the fluorite metaphysical
Oh,
properties.
there it is. Anna's okay.
Um,
Anna has a big one in her hand.
They're radioactive, by the way.
So,
Ooh, love it. Love it.
so fluorite is for mental enhancement, and you've been tuning into the feeling, and you were absolutely right, to allow the mind to flow freely, to balance the thoughts and ideas. So you're 100% correct. You were
Okay.
completely intuitive, and there you have it.
it's great for teeth and bones as well.
Yes, amazing. What beautiful colors as well, that purple and green.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah, I love it.
Gorgeous.
Um,
Beautiful.
please do post the picture on Sacred Segments page. Let's close with something that we are grateful for. Paul.
I'm grateful for all of you today,
Me
because
too.
each one of you have either through your own stories or through compliments given me the wisdom that I was missing, that I needed. Thank you. Thank you.
I'll go next. I'm grateful for safety and clarity. Bonnie.
Well, I'm with Paul. I am so thankful for you. I'm thankful that the 5 of us met today. This was meant to be.
Yeah.
I love it.
Beautiful.
Great.
Thank you. Thank you. And you're looking really, really youthful, Bonnie.
Thank you. The castor oil.
I'm going to be doing that every day, even more so now.
Yeah.
Annalie.
I'm also thankful for you guys. I'm thankful that I found people that get it, and like, I don't feel like a total weirdo. Like, even though I know I am, but
Embrace your inner weirdo.
No, I'm totally
We
fine.
will embrace you inner weirdo.
I just hate having to defend it,
I
so
get
it's
it.
nice to not have to do that. And I love you guys so much. I love being here when I can. I do my best. And then also I'm happy. I'm grateful for like having hope of like not being a person that just gets stuck in the negative, because that would suck. I'm glad that I have not lost that ability to be hopeful even in the face of bad stuff happening. So, and I will never lose that, because I will never let that other thing win ever. Like, not gonna happen. So hope, and you guys. So thank you.
Likewise, so grateful to have met you, and so grateful that you're here. So grateful for all of you. Thank you, Annalie. And Pavlakis, what are you grateful for?
I'm grateful for today, this day. I'm grateful that I woke up today feeling well after feeling sick yesterday. I'm grateful that I woke up to being asked to do a group event, with readings that people really found useful and resonated with, and that helped them. And I'm very grateful to you guys tonight. This evening was very, very beautiful and special.
Really beautiful.
Very intimate and very loving. So I'm grateful for all these wonderful things that happened today.
So lovely, thank you. May I ask you what that stick is behind you? It looks like an angel.
Oh, that's my rattle.
It's a rattle, yeah.
Wow.
That's the here. Wait.
Could we hear it? Could you just clear the energy for us as we close this session?
Yes, but I have to. Okay. Yes.
Wow, we couldn't hear it at all, but we
That
could
happens all
hear
the
it.
time. That happens all the time.
Well,
It's because it's the settings you've got on Zoom. There's a
I
particular
changed
setting.
it. I changed
Oh,
it. Yeah. So I thought you could hear it. Yeah.
So that happens with my class too, my shamanic traditions class. My professor can hit the drum, whatever, and it's fine. As soon as he pulls out his
Because
rattle, it never records.
Original
never
sound for musicians has to be
Yeah, yeah. I've got mine
put
set.
on, and I did.
You can hear my washing machine. You can hear everything.
Maybe
Like,
it's your setting. Maybe
That's
it's
what that
your
noise
setting.
is. Okay. Yeah, I'm wondering what that was.
It might have been your settings. Yeah.
can you just move it very, very quietly and let's see if we hear it?
Now I can hear it fine.
Really? That's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's
I
fine.
well, Mercury retrograde. Sorry, I did turn it on.
Thank you so much,
Maybe it turned itself
everybody.
off again. I don't know.
So great to see you all. Wish me
Thank you.
wish me happy travels.
Happy travels. Happy
Thank you.
travels.
Protect your
Be safe.
energy.
Thank you very
And
much.
protect yourself.
I will, for sure. I'm going to do some psychic protection right now. It was beautiful. Thank you, everybody. And I'll see you in a
Thank
couple
you.
of weeks. And the question that I'm going to ask next time is give me examples of your manifestations. So please
Okay.
think about that. Yeah?
Of that.
All right.
Okay.
Lots of love.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Love you. Bye-bye.
Much love.